The European driving license is a driving license replacing the many driving license styles already in use in the member states of the European Economic Area. It has the credit card style with a photograph and possibly a microchip. They were introduced to replace the 110 different plastic and paper driving licenses of the 300 million drivers in the EEA. The main objective of the license is to decrease the risk of fraud. History: Pre-1996 European driving license. The first step to a European driving license was taken on December 4, 1980, when the Council of Ministers adopted Council Directive 80/EEC on the introduction of a community driving license, which established a community model national license that guaranteed the mutual recognition by member states of national licenses. It also established the practice of exchange of licenses by holders moving from one member state to another. European driving licenses from 1996. On July 29, 1991, the Council of Ministers adopted the Council Directive 91/EEC on driving licenses. The directive required member states to adopt laws implementing the directive before July 1, 1994, which laws would take effect on July 1, 1996. Directive 80/EEC would be repealed on the same date. Directive 91/EEC specified the European Union driving license until its repeal January 19, 2013. Provisions: the directive harmonizes the categories of driving licenses among the member states and establishes two community driving license models, one paper version and one plastic card version. It furthermore establishes an obligatory test of knowledge and a test of skills and behavior which has to be successfully passed before an individual is offered a driving license. It also requires an applicant to meet the minimum standards of physical and mental fitness to drive. The directive specifies the minimum ages for driving different types of vehicles, and establishes progressive access in categories A, C, and D, from light vehicles to larger or more powerful vehicles. The directive stipulates that it is mandatory to have the normal residence in the member state issuing the license. Amendments: the directive has been substantially amended by 9 directives and 2 acts of accession. The plastic card version of the community license model, for example, was added to the directive by Council Directive 96/EC of July 23, 1996. European driving licenses from 2013. In March 2006, the Council of Ministers adopted a directive proposed by the European Commission to create a single European driving license to replace the 110 different models currently in existence throughout the EU EEA. The European Parliament adopted the directive in December 2006. Directive 2006/EEC was published in the Official Journal of the European Union on December 30, 2006. Its provisions took effect on January 19, 2013. Directive 91/EEC was then concurrently repealed. Provisions: the license is a credit card style, single plastic coated document, very difficult to falsify. The document will be renewable every 10 or 15 years depending on the member state. The several member states will have the option to include a microchip containing information about the card holder on the card. This will prove extremely useful because police can access the driving license in their own language. This would solve the problem with the 3 kinds of alphabet used in the EEA. In addition, the fields of the driving license are uniformly numbered, thus allowing the police to decipher the meaning of the fields without electronic access. Some categories like C and D will be issued for 5 years only. After expiration, a medical checkup is necessary in order to renew the license for another 5 years. EEA relevance: the directive mentions that it has EEA relevance, meaning that its provisions apply to Iceland, Norway and Liechtenstein, as well as the EU. Implementation: the directive stipulates that member states should adopt laws implementing the directive no later than January 19, 2011. Those laws should take effect in all EEA member states on January 19, 2013. All licenses issued before that date will become invalid by 2033. Categories valid in all EEA countries: national categories. Furthermore, there are more national categories for tractors, large motorcycles, motorized wheel boats, motor tricycles and military categories such as for driving tanks. National categories means they are not harmonized and only valid within the issuing country. A Austria, a Bulgaria, a Croatia, a Germany, a Norway, a Poland, a Switzerland. Even though Switzerland is a EFTA member state, it is not a member of the European Economic Area. Switzerland has, however, generally adopted much of the harmonized EU legislation with regard to driving licenses. Swiss licenses can be exchanged in most EEA countries. Switzerland has, since the 2000s, used the EU system of vehicle categories and issued EEA-style credit card licenses. To apply for a car driving license, the applicant must be 18 years old. They must first attend first aid courses, and pass an eyesight test. Passing a theory exam is required to receive a learner's permit license valid for 2 years. This allows holders to drive a car only if accompanied by an adult aged 23 or more who has had a full driving license for a minimum of 3 years. Before passing the practical exam, the candidate must attend 10 hours of theory lessons on sensibilization, familiarization to road traffic. Practical driving lessons are not legally required, but are considered a de facto prerequisite for passing the practical exam, taken with a government official, driving test examiner. Upon succeeding the practical exam, a probationary driving license is issued for 3 years. To obtain the full, unlimited, driving license after these 3 years, the candidate must not commit a serious traffic offense, and attend 2 days of further driving training. For motorcycles and heavier vehicles, the regulations are different, and some agrarian vehicles can be driven without a license. As of 2011, a 45-minute driving lesson costs around 90 Swiss francs, while the various fees and theoretical instruction costs associated with getting a car driving license can amount to up to 600 Swiss francs, without counting the costs for the 2 days of further training. The theoretical exam must be taken in either German, French or Italian. In some cantons it is possible to take it in English. Gallery, sample license from Poland, though the EU directive states this to be other names, local variations may occur. The addition of the personal number is a local variation. The EU directive states that 4D is optional and should be a number other than the one listed under number 5C. The address is optional in the EU directive, and thus not implemented by all countries. See also, driver's license, European Commissioner for Transport, International Driving License, Vehicle Registration Plates of the European Union, references. External links, http, www.workpermit.com 2006-12-18 European Driving License HTM, http, EC Europa UN 3826/330, http, www.Euractiv.com Transport Article 160496, http, news.bbc.co Key 61806117 STM, http, www.direct.gov UK Motoring What Can You Drive and Your Obligations DG 4022547